Believe it or not, we still have another fight, and it's the main event.
We'll get to our main event of the evening. At this time, we're going to be drawing the winner of the raffle for the Kids Capes of...
And what a main event we have, John. We've got the return of the professional Predator. It's been so long since Brian Rogers has fought on the regional scene. He left as the Predator, and he returns as the professional Predator. He's fought main events in Italy. He's fought all across the country for Strikeforce and primarily Bellator. This is a huge moment for Ohio mixed martial arts on the regional level that Brian Rogers is stepping back in the cage.
And on top of that, let's keep in mind that the struggles he's had to go through. Louis Rumsey comes in here. He is his third opponent in 3 days. Rogers could not train for an opponent. He had opponent 1, initially denied by the Ohio Athletic Commission, then reinstated, then got hurt. Then we have a second opponent. Now we have a third. Louis Rumsey comes in. He says, and we're going to talk about this more, but he says, hey, man, I'm just here to throw down. Have fun. I don't care if it's a decision, a knockout, a submission. I'm just here to fight. So Rogers is going to have his hands full. A lot of emotion tonight. This is a special moment in Northeast Ohio as far as mixed martial arts is concerned.
An emotional moment for Brian Rogers. I spoke to him before the show. He said all week long, being home, around his family, familiar faces and familiar settings like being back at Strong Style, he said he's been near tears on several occasions. It's a very emotional moment, and it's going to be an emotional time. During the intermission, I had a chance to go back to the locker room and watch him hitting pads with Marcus Marinelli, and it almost brought a tear to my eye. Because, John, you and I have been in this game for a long time. We followed it, and that is a reunion. When Brian Rogers went to Factory X in Colorado, he said he did so with Marcus's well wishes. His coaches in Colorado and here have a great relationship, but it was good to see Brian Rogers back with Marcus Marinelli.
Absolutely, Brian Rogers. If you follow him on Facebook or Instagram, you know, one of the things he always says is Ohio against the world. And Brian Rogers wears his heart on his sleeve, and tonight he's going to be wearing his heart on his sleeve.
I couldn't have said it better. Nothing more fitting, in fact, for a return fight where Mr. Ohio against the world, Mr. Hardly Home but always repping, Brian Rogers takes on a fighter from the state of Pittsburgh, the state of Pennsylvania, the city of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's it. And Brian Rogers, he's a homegrown guy. Cleveland Browns, Cleveland Indians, Cleveland Cavaliers, and he trained with Stipe Miocic. He saw Brian's a little bit older. He saw Stipe when he was in his youth as an amateur. Brian's a professional. He saw the growth of him. Jessica Evil Eye. He saw so many of his teammates come through the ranks, and now they're where they're at, and now he gets to headline RFO Big Guns 22.
Not to belabor the point, but I had a chance to talk to Brian Rogers on Wednesday night, and he was kind enough to make some time to talk about the fight with me, but only on the car ride to the Cleveland Cavaliers against Sacramento Kings basketball game. So that tells you everything you need to know. He gets in town, he gets his work in at Strong Style, and he makes time to go see his beloved Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yep.
But the time to party's over with, or perhaps the time to party's just beginning, because he gets to do what he wants to do, what he loves to do, and that's in the cage. And we certainly can't ignore the guy on the other side, trained under Hoist Gracie, purple belt in jiu-jitsu under Hoist Gracie, a Bellator vet in his own right, and he's faced some top competition as well, the likes of Adam Milstead, Dan Spawn, Chris Dempsey, all UFC-type fighters.
Absolutely, and I think we are about ready to go from that last fight, which was just absolutely bloody and nasty, and we said it was going to be fight of the night. Let's hope we can trump that one.
Let's send it inside the cage for Jake Digman to bring out our first fighter.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is a professional catchweight bout in the RFO heavyweight division. It is brought to you by Mr. Reuter and Costa's official after party of Big Guns 22, and it is your main event of the evening. Introducing first, making his way down the aisle into the blue corner, please welcome Louis Rumsey.
Here comes the beast, Louis Rumsey, 13-14. again, taking this fight on 3 days' notice. However, he had been training to get UFC fighter Tim Bosch ready. He's a training partner of Tim Bosch, getting him ready for Jacare Souza. So,
yes, so he's absolutely ready. When I talked to him backstage, I said, what made you take this fight on 3 days' notice? And he said, I was ready. He goes, I might as well have been training for myself to be into a fight. So, hey, when they called, good to go. Bernie Privado, the Ohio Athletic Commission, said, game on. He said, and he was very, almost eerily calm in the sense that he said, I just want to have fun.
He said, I have nothing to lose. This is a big name. He said, this win will be good for my brand. And this is a really unique guy. We mentioned it, purple belt under Royce Gracie. You'll see his flexibility and his spinning kicks sets him apart. He's wrestled his entire life since the age of 4, and I expect Rumsey to come in here and stand and bang with Brian Rogers.
Well, yeah, and he said, he goes, you know what? I'm in shape. I'm ready. Let's go. And like I said, it was almost eerie in the sense that he was just ready to go. And he said it was almost like he was training for this fight, even though he wasn't training for this fight.
I saw Louis Rumsey during the intermission, and he looked like a man possessed, sitting by himself, staring off into the distance with a look that told me, look the other way. Don't make eye contact with this man because he's in fight mode.
He is in fight mode, absolutely. But he's going to have no friends here tonight. There's no question that this crowd is going to be very heavily behind Brian the Predator Rogers, not only from Strong Style, but the Northeast Ohio factor that we've already talked about.
Rumsey's in the cage. We send it inside to bring out the professional Predator. Jake Digman, take it away.
And his opponent making his way down the aisle into the red corner, please welcome Brian Rogers!
What else can be said that we haven't already said? Mr. Ohio against the world, the professional Predator, heads to the RFO cage for the first time. And it's his first time fighting in regional mixed martial arts in Ohio since January 15, 2011. Draped in the state of Ohio flag. And there he is, Brian Rogers. Marcus Marinelli cornering him.
And Rogers has had an up and down career. He's 12-9. He's been right on the brink of Bellator championships, but has just fallen short. But nonetheless, he does hold one of the most memorable knockouts in Bellator history as we look at our tail of the tape. Brian Rogers, 32 years old. Louis Rumsey, 27. Both equal at 5'11". Equal amount of fights as far as the record goes. They're both about 500. But Rogers, like I was saying, holds one of the most memorable knockouts with that flying knee in Bellator. Unbelievable knockout. And that's the one thing you got to always worry about Brian Rogers is not only his strength, but his speed.
Brian Rogers has more flying knee knockouts than most fighters have fights. He's done it on the regional scene. He's done it at Bellator. He's been all over the world, as we mentioned, and he's fought some of the best. He's returned home. And again, you said, on the cusp of championships. Several times he's been one fight away, and if you go back to the Alexander Shlemenko fight, he's beaten Dom Steele, current UFC fighter. He beat Dom Steele. So this man's been in with some of the best. He's beaten some of the best.
And he takes incredible care of his body. Trainer for the University of Akron football program before moving on to off to Colorado. He just takes absolute tremendous care of himself. So throw out the age of Brian the Predator Rogers. He's a 32-year-old in a 22-year-old body.
Yeah, 32 years old is not old in MMA. And Brian, to his credit, says, even after the most recent loss to Alexei Sakara in Bellator, he said, I feel like I'm still getting better at this game. And that's a scary thought.
That is very scary considering. And, he has bounced up and down. He's fought at 205. He's fought at 185. That's his natural weight. But he is a thick 185er.
Yeah, well, now they believe this one's fought at 220, a catch weight, due to just finding a fight. I mean, both of these guys, let's be honest, Rumsey took it on 3 days. Brian Rogers took this fight on 3 days. This is a new opponent. The professional predator, Brian Rogers, is back in the cage in the state of Ohio. We send it to Jake Digman for the official introductions.
The following contest is a professional catchweight bout in the RFO heavyweight division. It is brought to you by Mr. Reuter and Costa's official after party of RFO Big Guns 22. This bout is sanctioned by the Ohio Athletic Commission under the offices of Executive Director Mr. Bernie Perfato. Your inspectors for this contest are Rick McMillan and Cy Wheeler. Your judges for this contest are Brian Monroe, Mike Berry, and Delbert Gray. Your timekeeper is the birthday girl, Lisa McMillan, and your physician at cage side is Dr. Alan Klein. And now, Mansfield, Ohio, make your voices heard. We are broadcasting globally on Flow Combat for your main event of the evening. Introducing first in the blue corner, he fights out of Williamsport, Pennsylvania. He weighed in at 220 pounds, representing Team Vicious MMA with a professional record, 13 wins, 14 losses. Please welcome Louis the Beast Rumsey. His opponent in the red corner, he fights out of Denver, Colorado by way of Kent, Ohio. He weighed in at 220 pounds, representing Factory X and Strong Style Fight Team with a professional record, 12 wins, 9 losses. He is a multi-time Bellator veteran. Please welcome Brian, the Professional Predator Rogers. This bout is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. When the action begins, your referee is Mr. Jerry Poe.
All right, gentlemen, you got your rules in the back. Protect yourself at all times, obey my commands all times. Open up now, let's do this.
Brian Rogers, red gloves, black trunks. Louis Rumsey, blue gloves, black trunks with red lettering. Jerry Pogue, third man in the cage. I'm Ryan Cavanaugh. John Sturmack calling the action with me. It's RFO Big Guns 22. Rogers takes center cage. Watch out for the kicks from Rumsey. Very flexible, big outside leg kick for Rogers. And Rumsey answers.
Rumsey showing that flexibility early on, throwing those kicks, but Rogers, oh!
Big right hand for Rogers, and he's swarming. Here's the ground and pound from Brian Rogers, looking to finish.
Big elbows, big elbows. I think Rogers smells. Uh-oh.
Looking for an ankle lock is Rumsey and Rogers. Interesting. This is an interesting decision here. Does Rogers want to get down on the ground with the purple belt under Hoist Gracie? Big right hand that rocks Rumsey from Rogers.
And Rogers is doing a very smart thing. He's
another right. And Rumsey looks to be out. It's all over.
It's over.
Brian Rogers has just stopped Louis Rumsey. Welcome home, Brian Rogers. And you see the emotion on the face of Rogers.
Absolutely. And Rogers, you could just tell. I don't want to predict anything. I wonder right now if Rogers, if this was his swan song, if he says, I'm done. But knowing Rogers, it ain't going to happen.
Well, I think Rogers, this is just another step on the way to the big show personally, but let's enjoy the moment as Brian Rogers, and here he goes, coming over to Rumsey to give him his due. And take a look at these right hands. There's one, John.
Oh, and they're just absolutely brutal. Oh, right down the pipe.
And those big right hands, you could see Rumsey, it rolled back a little bit.
And you can tell right now the emotion on Rogers. He's just looking around right now. He's coming over.
We're going to send it to Jake Digman to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Jerry Poe calls a stop to the action at 1 minute of the very first round, declaring your winner by knockout, Brian the Professional Predator Rogers!
You guys, Brian was screaming in here that Louis Rumsey took this fight on 3 days' notice. Let's hear it for him. He really did save this show. Thank you, man. Mad respect to you. I'm here with your winner, Brian Rogers. How's it feel, the homecoming, man, to get that KO win?
Man, that's Ohio against the world wherever I go. I got a lot to say. So please bear with me. I'm fighting March 24th in Denver. I got a pro BJJ match in 2 weeks. I'm gonna read this off. I just need 3 minutes of your time. This has been a long, stressful week. I'm sure you know. I had a struggle with opponent. I need to thank Louis Rumsey for taking this fight on short notice. As you guys know, I got my shit stolen at the Cavs game. The Cavs called and gave me tickets to the game tomorrow. They made it right. But it's just this week's just a small example of how life can be and things don't always go in your way. Life is what you make and how you react to it. I chose to keep moving and lean on all my family and friends. I want to thank Matt Chukovich for not quitting on this show or me. Matt and I have been talking for 2 years about trying to get back here. Thank you, Matt and Melissa, for this opportunity. And these young guys, they're your key to the next level. Support local MMA. It ain't just the UFC, it ain't Bellator. It starts here. It starts here. Mom, Dad, Gerald, thank you for supporting me from day one. I couldn't ask for better parents or leaders in my life. I'll never be able to tell you how much you truly mean to me. Mom, I'm sorry I didn't call on Christmas. I'm sorry. I got the gifts. I thought I got a hold of you. I just wanted you to see Brielle on FaceTime. My memory sucks, but I love you. You might remember when I was little, I gave you a gift of an elephant and 2 little elephants holding their mom's tail. You're still my elephant. I'm still following you. That's why I'm the gentleman I am. That's why I'm good in business, because you set the tone. All those years making me do computer stuff and type stuff. Thank you. I got more. I'm sorry. Dad, there's no one better. You know what my goal is. You did a lot of things right. You taught me not to cut corners and do things the right way. Thank you, Dad. I always told you when I was a kid I wanted to get a football scholarship. I got a partial ride. We got halfway there. You know what my next goal is? You know what my next goal is gonna fucking add up, and I'm gonna get there. Gerald, I can't tell you how proud I am of you. You do stuff your own way, you've carved your own path. I love you. I don't tell you enough, but I love you. My corner tonight, Marcus Marinelli. You're the most important man next to my father in my life, whether you realize that or not. Thank you for backing me for over 10 years. Years ago, I came to your gym. Before I came to your gym, I took my dad to a fight at Chaparral's. My dad was skeptical of MMA and me getting into it. I think you had some guys on the card. One of them was Joe Highland. He watched the card all night. Long story short, my dad said, you need to train with that man and his team. He liked the way you carried yourself and the way Strong Style does it. And that's why I chose there, and that's why I'm back here. Thank you for always taking care of me, Marcus. Jeremy Good, man, I looked up to you for so long, whether you realize it or not. Jeremy, you're a senior and I was a freshman. You taught me how to work hard. You're a stud linebacker and wrestler, and that's what I wanted to be. You came back from college, you used to whoop my ass when I was in high school wrestling. Then I came to Strong Style and whooped my ass in jiu-jitsu and made me better. Thank you. Randy Rowland. Randy, friendship's everything to me. You've seen that this week, my Ohio friends. I love you, man. You're one of my best friends in Denver. I lean on you for so much support. Terry Blackwell, I don't know if you're still here. When I got out of Walsh College, I went to train at Team Integrator in Victory. Terry Blackwell and his wife, Patty, took me in and gave me a new identity when I didn't really have one. But thank you. It's been great being back home. I've got to catch up with many people I truly love. I haven't shaken many hands this week, but I've hugged everyone I've seen. I miss Ohio every day, guys. Every day. One person that isn't here, my friend Corey Armstrong. My last fight was in Torino, Italy. 16,000 Italians cheering for my opponent. Tonight's a 24-hour, 360 turnaround. But my friend Corey Armstrong passed away the day before that fight. So, those of you who have met Corey, he was a great guy and a good friend. So this fight and all my fights from here on out will be dedicated to his memory. Edmonds, Slates, Corona. That group text keeps me alive, man. Thank you, fellas. You know, Berkowitz, Mikowski, Andy, thank you, guys. Sorry, guys. Ed and Robin Crow, thank you for being with me day one. Ed and Robin Crow's Autobody are my longest sponsors. You've bailed me out of so many jams with a couple dollars when I needed help, and thank you. Alex Rowland, Eric Zumbarakis, I didn't grow up with you forever, but you're one of my best friends, thank you. I'm gonna stop drawing around. Chris Beck, thank you for flying in from Denver. Coker, thanks for being a great friend. Michigan still sucks, though. You're not Jim Harbaugh. I'm just glad you didn't wear khakis tonight. Keely and Matt Beebe, thank you for coming, along with the rest of my Walsh guys. I skipped your skipped your wedding for a fight in 07. It still bothers me to this day, but I think about you guys all the time. I'm glad you guys came out. Paul Dion, thank you. Marcus Parham, Seth Stewart, Nick Harris, all my Kent day ones, thank you. Ken Akron, Cleveland, Kent, Toledo, Mansfield. I love this state. I'm gonna stop.
Hey, you guys, let's hear it for Brian the Predator Rogers. He's gonna be at Costa's right after this.